guys, welcome back to my channel. Just want to take a quick moment to basically go and do a long-term ownership report of my 2011 Infiniti M56x. Today is Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. 2019, and I have had the car for basically 5 years. I bought it in November of 2014. I got the car with 42,000 miles on it. It was a lease turn-in, or I don't know, company car turn-in, and it now has 124,000 and change. So it's almost at 125,000. So I just want to basically recap, my 5 years with the car, any issues I've had with it. So let's get to it. So basically, I pretty much the only thing I've been doing to it as far as maintenance goes, I haven't had any real major maintenance items come up. Just oil changes, air filter changes, tires, brakes, stuff like that. General, every car, things that every car will encounter. My oil change intervals are 5,000 miles, and I use Mobile One, the filter and the oil itself. I've been running 0W40 pretty much since I got the car. And I've had, I live in, as you can see, I live in a cold climate, upstate New York, where, summers are in the 80s, low 80s, and winters can get brutal, to put it bluntly. For example, 3 days ago, it was like -5 with wind chill. So, very varied climate. My oil, has been doing its job. My car doesn't eat too much oil or burn too much oil. For the most part, it's it's on par with a typical car as far as how much I have to fill between oil changes. So moving on to the interior, go over here. So you can see my car is pretty good condition. A little bit of cracking on the seats. I don't always condition them, and that's my fault. But I mean, I have no major tears, no major rips. The carpets are obviously dirty from all that mileage, but the seats themselves are pretty good condition. The back seat. Gotta have a brush, guys, if you live in my climate. Back seats are pretty much, I would say, almost like new. No issues at all. So interior of the car held up very, very well. The roof liner's clean, everything's clean, no sagging, no issues. I will say this about the interior though, there is rattles. It may be because I listen to music very loudly, so over the 5 years of music pounding, that stuff has loosened up a little bit, but you just turn it up louder and you don't hear the rattles. That's the way I approach that problem. Everything else was good. I did have one problem, which was expensive to fix, but I had it fixed under warranty, and that is, I know actually a lot of people have encountered this, is when you're replacing the footwell light bulbs, and I had put LED in, there sometimes is a tendency to short one of the wires somewhere, and that breaks a whole bunch of stuff. So it ended up basically shorting out my body control module, my BCM, some CAN bus harness, a couple other harnesses behind the dash. So Infiniti, under warranty, replaced all those parts to the tune of like $5,000. But and I can't say, I mean, I'm a car guy, so it seems odd that the system isn't fused properly. It's poor design. But if you never change your bulbs, you should never encounter that problem. So I will put an asterisk next to that statement. So if you're the kind of person who buys a car and just drives it and just changes oil and tires, you shouldn't have an issue with that problem. For some reason, it's only people that have tried to change their light bulbs, whether to replace a broken one or to put LED or whatever. The system is not properly fused. But yeah, otherwise, there's interior is clean. So now let's go to the exterior for sure. So exterior, apologies for the car being dirty. That's nature of the weather we're in right now. I have no issues with body panel fitment, no issues with rust for the most part on the underside of the car. Obviously the control arm and stuff like that is going to be a little bit rusty, so let me show you here. I mean, my brakes are typical New York brakes, but my exhaust, I mean, it's still the factory exhaust after all these years. It's not rusted through. Flex pipe's still good. No major rust issues on top. No problems on the bumpers. Plastic is all good. I do have a little bit of rust right here. Something must have scratched it, is my guess, and it got its way in there. But Albany, go Great Danes. It's my alma mater, if you guys didn't know, but yeah, so exterior of the car is clean. No major blemishes. Mirrors have been a little nicked up from other cars and people opening their doors, but no major dents either. Windshield is the original windshield as far as I know. Never cracked, anything like that. I do have a little bit of rust up here, and you can see right here's one, here's a couple more, and I think these are mostly due to rock chips. As I'm driving, cars that just send stuff my way and it nicks the paint and the clear coat, and then you develop rust. But I do have to fix them. I don't deem it a critical priority, but eventually I'll have to find the time to fix that up. But yeah, so that's the exterior. Again, it's maintained. I mean, I wash it regularly, I clean it regularly. No complaints there. So let's move to the engine. So again, it's gonna be filthy, guys, just don't judge me. So here's the engine. Again, it's got 125,000 miles on it. Pretty much just oil changes and stuff. You can hear that it's idling nice. It's not making any clanking noises, anything like that. Filters I change regularly. I did clean the throttle body once or twice, just at least in front of the butterfly valve. I've done the sea foam through the intake hose to clean out the manifold. I've done that twice in the last basically 80,000 miles. Otherwise, I've changed the coolant. I've changed the differential fluids, all that stuff. Last time was probably at 90,000 miles, or maybe 80. So I'm about due for those, and I've actually already done some of them myself. I gotta go to the dealer for some of the other ones, because I just don't want to get my hands dirty with them. We do have a little bit of rust here in the engine bay, towards the front, but for the most part, everything is okay. Now, here's the issues with a car that I am having. So the V8 model in particular has catalytic converters that are part of the intake manifolds, exhaust manifolds. So I am having a P0420 code, which is a catalytic efficiency threshold has been breached or whatever. In order to fix that issue, you have to pull the motor to replace the entire collector with the catalytic converter. So that's about $3,000 worth of work, parts and labor total. So eventually I have to fork that money over. Otherwise the car will stop passing its inspection, which I've been lucky so far. The light comes on and off, so I've been able to time it just right. And when it gets hot, when it gets warm in the summertime, the light seems to stay off more often than it's on. So I've been able to get my inspections done just by virtue of that happening. But eventually I am going to run into an issue where it's, the light's going to come on and it's going to stay on. At that point, I'll have to fork over the money. But the way I look at it is $3,000 to fix the problem, keep a car running when it's paid off is better than, $500 a month car payment, which, for a year, if my math is right, is like $7,200. So it's cheaper still, whether I spend the $3,000 or I don't. So But otherwise, my engine bay, I mean, you can see it's clean. Everything is, where it should be. No rattles here. The other issue I've noticed lately is my power steering fluid seems to be seeping out somewhere. I don't see any puddles on my floor, but I have to keep adding it. Not often, but often enough where it's starting to become a little bit curious issue to me of why it keeps going down. But here's the battery. I just put a new battery in it last year. I did have some issues with the car randomly firing off its alarm. Turns out my battery, the fluid level or the acid level inside was a little bit low. So I added some distilled water, and that seems to have fixed my issue. Actually, additionally, yesterday, I'll link this thread in the description. But in here, in the back corner, there is an IPDM module, and I guess this car, I had no idea until somebody posted about it on the forum. But I guess this car comes with this thing called ECM controlled alternator, which basically, if you don't drive your car more than 8 miles in a given trip, the alternator never sends a signal to the ECM never sends a signal to the alternator to charge your battery. So I was wondering why my car was constantly, battery was always low, or it's having weird alarm issues. It turns out it's because of that. So yesterday, if you follow the thread on Nico Club, you can pull out a particular pin out of the harness, and that will basically disable that functionality. So every time you run the car, it's always charging the battery. So I did that yesterday. But other than that, I mean, this is why I buy Infinitis, and unfortunately, they're going away from what they're good at. I hear they're getting rid of the V8 and they're going all electric, and then obviously they have discontinued this entire model. The Q70 is no more after this year. So I might buy another like 2018 or 2019 Q70 once this car is finally giving up the ghost. But that may be my last Infiniti sedan. My wife has a QX60, which is a very nice SUV in my opinion. But as far as sedans, the Q50 is just way too small for me. So I'll keep driving this thing until it can't be driven. But I've had good luck with Infiniti. I had 2 Nissan Maximas. I had an M55x 07, as you guys know. I had this car, and I have not had any major problems with any of them. Engines have always ran good. Transmissions have always ran good. Never did a engine rebuild or a training rebuild. So I've knock on, there's no wood here, but knock on whatever. I've been very lucky as an owner of a Nissan product to not have any issues. But yeah, that's the basic recap of owning this kind of car for 5 years, and basically 80 something thousand miles. That's basically how the ownership model goes. I mean, some people obviously have different experiences. Every car is a little different, but for the most part, if you maintain your car, if you're not negligent with oil changes, if you're not, if you're always on time with your maintenance, you should expect that kind of reliability out of I would say any Japanese product, but at least Infinitis. My dad always taught me when I was young is to take care of the car, it'll take care of you, and that's held true for me for 10 plus years now with 4 Nissan products. Upcoming maintenance I gotta do is I gotta do the coolant, obviously. I gotta do probably my brakes soon, because they're starting to, at least the back ones look like a little warped maybe, but a little rough. But I gotta do the brakes because they're starting to vibrate when I brake hard. And I do bed them in every time I install them, so I think it's just over time. These are just eBay specials, so not the best brand, but otherwise, I mean, I did the rear differential already. I gotta do transmission. I gotta do a front differential. But most fluids are good now, so yeah, just keep on driving it. Basically, I haven't spent like any money in this car as far as like performance or or goodies, because there isn't really that much to buy for this car. I did want to get coilovers, one day, but maybe that will happen when, my suspension dies. So so actually, speaking of suspension, I'm still on the original suspension, and I mean original everything, like tie rods, stabilizer links, axles. Well, axles not really suspension, but basically underneath the car is basically all original. Struts, shocks, everything is original. I have not touched any of that stuff in the 5 years that I've owned it, and I doubt at 42,000 miles that they were replaced by the previous owner or owners. So this thing, yeah, I mean, I'm telling you guys, rock solid. I have no complaints. I love this car to this day. When it's clean, when I park it at a shopping plaza like this, I'll walk away from it and I'll be like, dang, girl, look at that. It's a nice car. Very nice car. I love my car. But if you have any questions particular to this model, things that maybe I didn't go over that you're curious about, just comment down below. Obviously, if you're not a subscriber to my channel, like and subscribe. I hope to be a little more active this year, not only for my car stuff, but also my motorcycle vlogs. I've really neglected that stuff. I've been just so busy with work and other stuff. I started a travel blog, so I've been a little busy with that. By the way, I'll link that in the description as well if you guys are curious about flight reports or hotel reports or resort reports. Give it a watch and give it a like and a subscribe. I'll definitely appreciate your guys' support. But yeah, happy holidays, like I said before. Merry Christmas and happy Hanukkah and whatever else celebrated tomorrow on December 25th. And take it easy. Take care.